Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Adriane, your quantum love coach from beautiful Ubud in Bali, and you see me in another room. I'm today in room number 1 in my favorite villa in New Kuning, and we have in this very minute the high peak of the full moon. It's the 9th of February, local time. It's 3:33 in the afternoon. In Auckland, New Zealand, since 8:33. So I decided that I hold the vibration of the actual full moon energy as it goes and as we go along today, and that I do a recording in this very high peak time. So I learned about this moon that it is a very unique moon, that it is a moon that stands while the sun, while the astrological zodiac is embracing us with this divine energy of Aquarius, where we think about the collective, where we look into the future, where we consider, the whole, the greater picture of all that is in our life and in our connections and in the world and in the universe, and how we interrelate. And here is this, rather, soul positioned, very, very, dominant full moon in the sign of Leo. And as some of you, when you are a little bit attuned with astrology, will understand that Leo is a sign that is a fire sign. Leo energy, particularly when it relates to moon, is an energy of great dominance, of depth, of unlocking the traumas, the problems, the deeper codings of oneself. So I actually personally carry my moon in my chart, in my astrological chart, in Leo. And it's actually quite surprising how issues that relate to my reflection between the inner and the outer world, the way I feel I relate to the outer world, to it's actually happening, how this is actually playing out right now. And I had earlier on today not at all the inner inspiration to go on camera and to show myself, and I thought, no, it's a day, it's Sunday, it's very, very quiet around me. It's heavily raining here in Bali. We had just the last 6 or 7 hours the most outrageous rain coming down, pouring as if heaven's gates opened, and we just felt the beautiful grace of rain just blessing the earth. This island has not had much rain at all. Even so, we are in the nearly 3rd month of the rain season now. You can really, on one hand, some sort of count the days when it really rains. So it's like, oh, hello, blessing on this really amazing, interesting, and astrologically very, very charged day. So I think why I'm actually really interested to speak today as a quantum love coach, and I would have loved speaking outside with flowers around me and with plants and a fountain and some sort of an environment which I just love to create around me when I'm doing work in Bali. But it seems to be just heaven's choice today that we are more internal and really, really reflect on issues. I want to share with you that only yesterday I had the most amazing offering session. So I just show you the last bits of the items that have been prepared to me and for me, for my offering blessing, my full moon blessing, for my life, for my work, for love, for my involvement in projects relating to book writing, to coaching, to my involvement in Bali, in Australia, and in New Zealand, and hopefully also later this year in Europe. So I feel I want to just share that my prayers really are for expanding myself hugely and powerfully, and to get to a level where my message I want to share since more than 8 or 9 years now is so-called quantum love coach, or quantum intimacy consultant, and kind of practitioner of an awakening energy within all of us, that I can really deepen the message, and that I can get more in sync and clarifying over time. Lots of practitioners, consultants, readers, and channelers talk about the divine masculine, divine feminine. And I just want to keep it still very, very simple, because relationships ultimately start in a quantum field of space. You know, we are beings that ultimately are created out and in and in expression energy. So if our inner world reflects an energy into an outer spectrum where particles meet other particles and have an experience around that, then I think it's very interesting to understand that often connections that particularly develop over time on distance, or as many of us, you know, doing this work actually say, like for fifth dimensional relationships, you know, distance relationships. I mean, the whole online space speaks about how we bring our connections together from an awareness that, oh, here's a photograph, here's a message, here's a profile, here's something that I pick up on this being's energy, and how does this relate to me? How does this relate to me in connection to this person? And I think this is really the theme of this full moon. When we think about Aquarian energy, as I said at the beginning, as a more collective and open, wider, expanded energy, and yet Aquarian energy seeks this uniqueness, this intelligence to pick up on the finer, the more subtle nuances of life, of love, of relating, of how to bring purpose into manifestation. So I want to just really reflect on the importance that in this very weekend we have a countdown of 5 days to Valentine's, and I will not promise to make a recording and a video every day till Valentine's, but I certainly will promise to come big online on the 14th from Bali. I don't know whether I will record it or do it as a live stream that will be available to those who are, you know, at that very time in the ether and receive my messages and interact with me. So I'll let the divine decide this, but it's a 5-day countdown. And Valentine's has really been, you know, highly discussed as being very commercial and coming about to make another day special, to create you know, the necessity for people to buy each other's gifts. And yet, you know, as every year when I come online and I speak in television and in radio and in recordings and in interviews in my coaching session, about if it ultimately is a day, Valentine's Day, to remember that we are not alone and that there are people in our lives who actually love us and have a deep, you know, interest in us feeling loved. Even so, we might not be in a romantic relationship, and if we are lucky enough having this romantic partner, this romantic counterpart interacting and mirroring back to us, then I think the lessons coming from that and what we experience on a day like Valentine's, of course, carry much greater expression. But ultimately, hey, you know, celebrating this day and loving ourselves and giving gifts to ourselves in the sense of telling ourselves how much we actually love life, love others, love connections with those who show us how lovable we actually really are and can be now and forever. So the themes between the Aquarian and the Leo is really, the Leo is this, you know, this solo artist that stands on the stage and wants to know that the performance and the expression given is received and ultimately impactful, while, you know, the Aquarian energy gives space for all this variety to appear. So who am I uniquely, personally, profoundly in the midst of that greater picture of relationships being something we experience not just with our lovers but also with so many other people in our lives every day. So who am I in love? Do I really represent my own very true resonance and vibration and personality and truth into the space? And how do I really show up? It brings us really back to the quantum intimacy questions, of what is the blueprint I create, what is really going on in my willingness to pick up on my very own needs and communicate them to others, and develop ability to have, my partner's needs equally important in my awareness, and fulfill them and meet them, while I can receive that someone is here to help me to fulfill my very own needs. How willing am I to change? How willing am I to grow? And ultimately, how do I show up? How do I really show up here and now in this connection? And if I'm not in an intimate connection, how do I show up for myself? How do I show myself that I actually understand my needs, my profound longing for something that is highly, 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 the word is, it's not coming yet, but it's like it's already chosen. It feels to me like it's qualified. It's highly available for us to be recognized, but we might need a little bit more time. Yes, the word is coming now, highly specified, the specification of who am I, who do I want to be, and how can I express my full being in relationship with others. So just to add a little more, because the camera is rolling and these readings usually do not want to be too long, because I'm not giving you the so-called clairvoyant message, but I certainly pick on some themes that are in the ether, and I will pick 3 cards and just speak to them as it comes. The first card appearing is the card The Unexpected. Now 5 days before Valentine's. Yeah, I mean, for those of you who are single, anything can still happen. And I don't think we need to be disencouraged singles that we are the one maybe missing out. No, I mean, the unexpected can happen. And also, if I tune a little longer into it, the unexpected can happen from within us. Look deeply, it is a full moon. I mean, see just the roundness, the fullness of this beautiful moon card here. It's actually a blue moon, that's represented in this card. Yeah, let's just be with that, surprising new discovery that comes from, magically what has called out, wanting to be manifested. The second card is another Queen of Moon Oracle card I'm called, and it's calling out for peace. This very card appeared in another reading I channeled to you only recently, and it is a time for peace. It is a time for actually discovering and really seeing the necessity and the importance for holding peace and stillness within us. We cannot be feminines, divine feminines, quantum feminines, without absolutely comfortably experiencing stillness, because out of the stillness comes the organic movement, the organic vibration to move us and shake us and, open us up as divine feminines to this, wonderful beings that create color and shining stars in the lives of our divine masculines. And for the divine masculine, peace and inner quiet and retreating into inner peace is absolutely necessary to connect with purpose, with real passion from within, and also only from this place of peace, our man, our divine masculines can come back to us and fully engage in a kind of dialogue and communication and interaction of really deep fulfillment and deep expansion, whatever this might look like. And loving conversation, a walk on the beach, or a very, very, very passionate love-making session. So let's be surprised. As it says, the unexpected is about to happen, and that might look for each one of us slightly different. And the third card I want to bring into the picture, let me just see what comes here, is fear. And I think it's time to let go of it. There is a lot of fear that we might not fulfill criteria of that what is told to us, or what we have been conditioned to be valid, to how we show up. You're only good enough and perfect enough and great enough when this and this and this and this is about to happen, or has manifested itself already. But I, in my own life, I see, with 57 years of age, that I had just a reflection even this morning and yesterday, looking at photographs of my very own beautiful daughter, who is 24 years old, and my son commenting on a new hairstyle she created, that, oh, you look like mom. And I actually really found that was more like a compliment towards me, that I was, some sort of put in the same category of beauty and beautiful expression, like my son's very own sister, and she is so much younger than me. But here again, it is not about the age, and it's not about this, how much is expected of us to look or be a particular way. And I thought in myself, oh my God, how do I actually feel? Do I feel like 57? Do I feel like someone who has the maturity to say that I have not desires, feelings, and inner driving forces that want to express themselves innocently or playfully, or maybe even courageously? Who am I to travel the world and live, between New Zealand, a home I absolutely love, and coming to Bali, and expressing my love for this country in the way that I bring guests here and help people to find in Bali the healing and the transformation they're really, really, really seeking. Or coming to Australia on a much more commercial and on a much, much more open-minded conversation with a lot of Australians who are very outgoing and well-spoken, and have actually the ability to bring their talents out in the world with much more confidence, which is not so much New Zealand energy, but Australians certainly do that. And that brings me back to, let's erase all this fear, we call it in New Zealand the tall poppy syndrome, because the individuals, and that is the full moon in Leo energy, the full moon in Leo energy is saying, you can be a beautiful shining star without being a tall poppy, feeling you are some sort of growing out of nowhere into a world that might not accept your individuality and not respects you as an authority or as an individual in your very own rights, in your very own knowledge, in your very own expertise. But it's time to, maybe I just feel one more card, and it's actually a tarot card which wants to come through, and I have no idea, but let's give it a go. Okay, and the card that comes is another one that really, really matches with this fear card. It is the nightmares, it is the fears, it is the insecurities that hopefully lead us. Let's see what more tarot is wanting to come through right now. And it's 3:33. Why not actually extending this meeting and reading and do a more extended version of this, and have actually 3 times 3 cards. So it's the Wheel of Fortune, and the Wheel of Fortune is a card that is so pivotal in this magical time, 5 days to Valentine's, the unexpected. And here it is, let's be open for the wheel to change. Let's be open. These nightmares, these insecurities, these fears, that we can let them go and actually open up to something much more profoundly. And maybe the lesson in the next 5 days to learn is that if we are not the classic, case of, already having booked our restaurant seat for Friday night, and the bottle of champagne already in the fridge, and the flowers already ordered on the actual in the actual flower shop or on Florop, then let's be wide open. It might happen. And here it comes. It's the Knight of Wands. It's that card that says, something unexpected is about to happen. Something unexpected wants to really, really enter our life. It might be a message, it might be an energy, it might be something that is still undiscovered. And the prayers I hold for you, whatever it might be uniquely and individually for you, is really, really that you find in this very, very potent time. I mean, it's high summer in Oceania, and my home in New Zealand, the temperatures are super high. Here in Bali we have rain season, and in Europe it's a very warm winter. So I guess we want to just really see that the seasons also in our very own surroundings reflect a little bit of how we feel and how we want to experience the newness and the discoveries of this very time. So another 3 cards will be, and this will be the last 3 messages I give for today, is the Whispers of Love card. And the first Whispers of Love coming here is new love. And for those who have not manifested yet their new love, it is saying, embrace an opportunity for love in your work, prospects, or for spiritual growth. And ultimately, this is what it's about. We are meeting people to grow, isn't it? We are meeting each other to have experiences with each other that are profoundly, transformational, and make us those people who we really, really, really want to be with one another and for one another. The second Whispers of Love card that popped out together with the new love is saying, receive with love and appreciation. And I see this so often, because if we have not the ability to actually receive love, how can we in the first place be able to imagine that we are a wonderful counterpart, a wonderful soul player in the dimension, in the quantum field of beings, being mirrors and being partners and being soulmates to one another. And the last card that appears from the Whispers of Love cards is, and I will just get it out now, a beautiful card. And let's see, it is Speak the Language of Love. Maybe this is what I'm doing the next 5 days. I will speak every day on one of the 5 languages of love. See, it's coming all together nicely. The countdown. My colleague Mel Gibson, she has this beautiful, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it shifts. So let me see what comes up in the next 5 days. I will probably need to make another recording today to speak about the first of the 5 languages of love, and really speak in a way that we understand what it means to recognize this love language within ourselves, but also develop the ability to be a giver and a sharer and an expressive force for this love language in others and for our beloveds. I wish you all the love of the world. This recording now is nearly 25 minutes, and once again I hold my beautiful offering blessing basket. By the way, this was created by the daughter-in-law of Ketut from Eat, Pray, Love. I spend a lot of time recently in the Ketut Lear Spirit House in Ubud, as the healings and the conversations I have there are equally powerful as obviously Liz Gilbert had at her time when she was sharing time with Newman's father when he was still alive. So Ketut passed away 3 years ago, and this family is becoming more and more like a really heart-centered, heartfelt connection for me here in Ubud and in Bali. And when I saw the movie and when I read the book, I had no idea that this would happen. But guess what? It's what is developing for me in my life. Yeah, speak the languages of love and see the new love coming. That's really what it's about. And receive everything, that comes your way with love and appreciation. May this full moon in Leo at the time of Aquarian energy in our ether be a wonderful full moon and nourishing you with all the love and the protection and all the joy and the fulfillment you absolutely desire. Namaste. If you wish to connect with me, the details are in the connection and in the description box below. And book a discovery session, which is my gift to you. Speaking about gifts, maybe that is the first recording I actually should, bring in. My first recording speaking about languages of love will be about gifts, because I think this is the most misunderstood love language. But let's come to that when I record it, okay? Thank you once again, and I look forward to see you here, there, online, or here in Bali at one of my upcoming retreats in New Zealand, 5th to 9th March, on my Mahiki Island Valentine's retreat in only 4 weeks' time. So may it be that we connect in the most magical way. Namaste. Lots of love.